Hey everyone! I hope you guys had a great weekend. So far, a great week. This week I'm going to work on identifying fractions from pictures with you, and then we're going to start with subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. So, the first thing we have is we have 10 pictures, which are all shaded areas that we need to create fractions for. So if we look at number 1, we have a triangle that has 1, 2, 3 parts. So our denominator, so our bottom number, is how many parts there are in the whole. So in the whole triangle, there are 3. And our top number is going to be how many we have shaded. So we see that we have 1 out of these 3 shaded. So our numerator, or top number, is going to be 1. So for number 1, our fraction is 1 over 3, or 1/3. Number 2, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 parts in the whole. So our denominator is going to be 11. And then out of those 11 parts, we have 1, 2, 3 shaded in. So our numerator is going to be 3. Number 3, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces in the whole. So that's our denominator. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces shaded in. So that's going to be our numerator. Number 4, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pieces in the rectangle. And then there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces shaded in green. But in this fraction is not in simplest form, so we have to reduce it. We can do that by looking for common factors, which would be 2 and 4. So our greatest common factor that goes into both 8 and 12 is 4. So our greatest common factor is 4. So because of that, we're going to divide our numerator and our denominator by 4. So 8 divided by 4 is 2, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. So our fraction reduces down to 2/3. Our next one, for number 5, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces in the whole rectangle, so our bottom number is going to be 6. And then we have 1, 2, 3 shaded in blue. 3 over 6 is also not in simplest form. So our greatest common factor for 3 and 6 is 3. So we're going to divide both our numerator and our denominator by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. And 6 divided by 3 is 2. So our fraction reduces down into 1/2. So number 6, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pieces in the whole. So that's going to be our denominator. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces shaded in purple. So that's the numerator. So our fraction is 9 over 11. For number 7, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces in our whole. And we have 1 piece shaded in green. That's the numerator, so our fraction is 1 over 6, or 1/6. Number 8, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces in the whole rectangle. And there are 1, 2 pieces shaded in purple. These are both even numbers, so we know that this fraction needs to be reduced. So the greatest common factor for 2 and 10 would be 2. So we need to divide the top and the bottom by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So our fraction reduces down to 1/5. For number 9, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces in our whole circle. And we have 1, 2, 3 pieces shaded in. So when we look at this fraction isn't reduced either, because 3 can go into both 3 and 9, which means our greatest common factor is 3. So we're going to divide both our numerator and our denominator by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. So our fraction reduces into 1/3. Number 10, our triangle as a whole has our rectangle as a whole, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces shaded in. So 4 is our numerator and 9 is our denominator. Okay, down here for these next 10, they give us the fraction and we need to shade in the correct parts. So our denominator, or our bottom number, tells us how many pieces there are in the fraction, and then our top number, our numerator, tells us how many pieces we need to shade in. So in number 11, we have 5 pieces in the whole pentagon, and then we're going to shade in 2 of those. For number 12, it's telling us that we have 9 whole pieces and we need to shade in 8 of them. So we have 8 out of our 9 pieces shaded in. For our next one, we have 5 pieces in the hole, and we're going to shade in 3 of them. So we're going to shade 1, 2, and 3. Number 14, our whole circle is cut into 10 pieces, and we're going to shade in 1. Number 15, our whole circle has 12 pieces, and we're going to shade in 2 pieces. Number 16, our decagon has 10 pieces in it, and we're going to shade in 4 of those pieces. Number 17, our rectangle is split into 11 pieces, and we're going to shade in 6 of those. Number 18, this rectangle is split into 4 pieces, and we're going to shade in 1 of them. Number 19, this octagon is split into 8 pieces, and it wants us to shade in 5 of them. And our last one, this circle is split into 12 pieces, and we're going to shade 4 of them in. Okay. So that is the end of our first page. Now we're going to move on to subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. Okay, so our first one, we need to put them over the same denominator. So we need to figure out the greatest common multiple, least common multiple, I'm sorry, of 10 and 4. So we can do that by looking at a multiplication chart, looking at the 10 times table and the 4 times table to figure out what number goes into both of them. Unfortunately, I did not have a multiplication chart ready for today, so I'm just going to tell you the least common multiple for 10 and 4 is 20. So 10 times 2 is 20, and 4 times 5 is 20. So we're going to put both of our fractions over 20. Okay. So if we multiplied 10 times 2 to get 20, whatever we do to the bottom, we also have to do to the top. So we're going to multiply 8 times 2, and 8 times 2 is 16. We multiplied 4 times 5 to get 20, so we have to multiply 1 times 5, which is 5. And then when we subtract, we only subtract our numerators, so our top numbers, and our denominators, which are our bottom numbers, are going to stay the same. So our fraction is going to be over 20, and we're going to subtract 16 minus 5, and 16 minus 5 is 11. So our answer is 11 over 20. On number 2, we have 2 and 3. So we need to figure out the least common multiple for 2 and 3. And you would do that by looking at a multiplication chart for the 2 times table and the 3 times table and seeing what the smallest number that goes into both of them is. So the least common multiple for number 2 is 6. It's 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 2 is 6. So both of our fractions are going to be put over 6. So we multiplied our denominator by 3 to get 6, so we're going to multiply our numerator times 3. So 1 times 3 is 3. On our second fraction, we multiplied our denominator times 2 to get 6, so we're going to multiply the numerator times 2 to get 2. And then we subtract. We only subtract the numerators, so our denominator is going to stay 6. And for our numerators, we're going to take 3 and subtract 2 from it. 3 minus 2 is 1. So our answer is 1/6. We already did 4 and 10. Here's one. We'll do number 7. We have 3 and 5. So when we use our multiplication chart, it'll tell us that our least common multiple of 3 and 5 is 15. So 3 times 5 is 15, and 5 times 3 is 15. So both of our fractions are going to be over 15. Okay, we multiplied the denominator of our first fraction times 5 to get 15. So we're going to multiply the numerator times 5. So 2 times 5 is 10. And then in our second fraction, we multiplied 5 times 3 to get 15. So we're going to multiply 3 times 3, which is 9. And then when we solve, we're going to subtract our numerators, and our denominator is going to stay 15. So we have 10 minus 9, and 10 minus 9 is 1. So our answer is 1 over 15. Number 8, we have 4 and 5. So we would use a multiplication chart and look at our 4 times table and our 5 times table and see that the least common multiple of 4 and 5 is 20. So both of our fractions are going to be over 20. Four times 5 is 20, and 5 times 4 is 20. So in our first fraction, we multiplied 4 times 5 to get 20. So we're going to multiply 2 times 5, which is 10. In our second fraction, we multiplied 5 times 4 to get 20. So we're going to multiply 2 times 4, and 2 times 4 is 8. And then we can solve. Our denominator is going to stay 20. And 10 minus 8 is 2. This fraction is not in lowest terms, so we need to find the greatest common factor of 2 and 20. So the greatest common factor is going to be 2. So we need to divide both our numerator and our denominator by 2 now. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And 20 divided by 2 is 10. So our final answer is 1 over 10. I'm going to do one more with you today. So we're going to do number 10, which is 2/3 minus 1/4. We'd start by using a multiplication chart and finding the least common multiple of 3 and 4, which is 12. Because 3 times 4 is 12, and 4 times 3 is 12. So we multiplied 3 times 4 to get 12. So we're going to multiply 2 times 4 to get our numerator. And 2 times 4 is 8. For our second fraction, we multiplied 4 times 3 to get 12. So we're going to multiply 1 times 3, which is 3. And then we can solve. So we have 8 minus 3, and 8 minus 3 is 5. And our denominator stays the same of 12. So our answer is 5 over 12. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. If not, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see you all next week.